All right. Welcome back to a Page of Swords podcast. This is episode 58. Bethany Abeln. So happy to have you here because
Thank you.
I just started following you when you did the Tampa Pro this year, which is your pro debut, I see.
hmm Yep.
So I'm excited to learn more about you and your backstory because I'm looking at the
Yeah.
NPC News website.
Yeah.
And it dates back to 2016, but it says you did junior nationals, so I'm assuming you must have did other shows. So
I did. Yeah. I started bodybuilding I think it was 2015 was my first show.
okay.
Um, I did two shows prior to that junior nationals. So I did my first show ever in the fall, and then the following spring, I did a show and then headed to junior nats that year. I think those two shows were like a week apart or something like that. So yeah, that year was my third ever show. So I did junior nats 3 times. I did junior USA's and nationals once. So yeah.
That's awesome so that was your third show and you were already starting to travel because no one
hmm
knows off air you just told me you're from North Dakota, right? And
Yep.
Fargo.
Yep.
So you kind of did traveling shows to start. Is there a lot even in North Dakota?
Yeah. Well, so we have two shows a year here in Fargo. I believe usually there's one in the spring and one the fall. I know COVID kind of threw the whole schedule into chaos, so I'm not sure for sure the schedule. But yeah, we have some shows here in Fargo, and then Minneapolis isn't that far of a drive. So I've actually never competed like in my hometown. I went to Minneapolis for my first show, so it was like, okay, you learn to meal prep out of a hotel room right away, like. Yeah, and I love traveling. So I've always traveled for shows now. Once I got the bug, I was just like, oh, it's an excuse to get out of town and do that. So yeah.
I love that because I mean I'm here in Pittsburgh and
hmm
we have a ton of shows here. Obviously, we've got the
Yep.
NPC headquarters and all that here. And it's so rare around these parts that the locals never go to other states. And I just
Yeah.
know that when I did, it was a game changer. And then
hmm
turning pro, it was like, and then it's just easier, right? I'm sure that it
Yep.
was like seamless for you to win the pro card. And then you're like, well, I got to go places because I don't
Yeah.
even
I'm
think there's a
like,
pro show where you're at.
yeah, no, definitely not. We did have a figure pro show in Fargo for like 2 or 3 years. That
Okay.
was so cool. I think Jessica Reyes won that
Okay.
one of the years. I can't remember, but yeah, they don't have that in Fargo anymore, so I have to travel. So it's like, and I'm so used to it. I was like, I have my system down. I look for certain Airbnbs now. I have my little checklist of must have this.
Mhm.
Yep. Find a local Target or Walmart or whatever. And
Yeah. See,
yeah,
and people
yeah.
don't, it's just so much easier now with Instacart and things of that nature.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
oh
And
my
you
goodness.
could, Amazon stuff to your
Mhm.
Airbnb ahead of time. And now with all the meal prep companies, I've never used a meal prep company, but like
I
I
haven't
hear
either.
great things about just having your food sent to you. I'm like, God, life's too easy.
Right. It's like, what's
Yeah.
the excuse, right? I mean,
Yeah.
especially in a major city, which is where shows are going to be at. It's not like
Yep.
in some small little dinky back road town.
Exactly. Yep.
Be
Oh
really
yeah.
crazy.
Yep.
So how was your first national show experience? You said that was your third show, was your first national show?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember getting backstage and being like, oh, they take this really seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I am pretty sure that Autumn Cleveland turned pro at the first national show I ever did because I remember seeing her backstage and I recognized her from Instagram and
Mhm.
being like, oh, there's like famous people here. Like there's such a little dweeb about it. Like,
Yeah.
and I remember I was quiet. I talked to no one.
Mhm.
I was I knew I wasn't going to turn pro. Like it was my first national show. I
Mhm.
was really there for the experience and to
Mhm.
feel what it's like to step on a bigger stage. And so I had zero expectations for myself. And then just seeing the seriousness of the competitors and everyone, is just because at the local shows, it's a little more like
Yeah.
it's fun.
Loosey
It's
goosey.
great. Yeah. And then I got there and they're serious, and I'm just like, okay, like we'll do this. And I remember I'll never forget standing backstage at my first national show and seeing someone turn pro for the first time.
Mhm.
And like I was, pumping up, and they had a big monitor backstage where you could watch what was going on stage, and seeing like another figure turn pro. I just like started crying. I was like, "Oh my God, she did it."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was that experience of being like, "Oh my God, like I have to keep doing this. Like I want that moment is kind of what, it was there. And so, yeah, it was like, okay, I have to get on national stage now, like every year. And I never did like a year where I stepped on a stage like 7 times or anything like that. I'm not a marathon competitor like that. I kind of, did my spurt of 1 or 2 shows a year. And yeah.
I think
Yep.
that's a good amount right there. 2 is pretty
Yep.
good. Sometimes 3. I would say 3 if you did nationals and you were literally like 1 off from a pro card or whatever. But
Right.
I think to do it healthy. Did you always have a coach too?
Yeah, so my coach is actually my boyfriend. And
Okay.
he's been coaching me since literally I started working out in the gym.
Okay. Awesome.
He our first date was to a bodybuilding show.
Okay.
So like he kind of introduced me to the world of bodybuilding and I fell in love with it. And he'd been coaching people and just kind of we just eased into him coaching me. And so yeah, and he's still my coach today. So yeah.
Does he coach other people too then? Or just you?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, he does coach other people. So I'm his most challenging client. So I proudly take that trophy. No, because I will fight back. I'll be like, no, I think I do need carbs. Just kidding. I don't. I listen, but it's
Well, whatever
definitely
you guys are doing is working, so I'm not going to question it.
it's good. We have a good balance. It's a lot of people are like, oh, isn't it hard to be coached by your boyfriend? And I'm like, not really. It's like he cares about this just as much as I do. So it's not like he complains when I'm on prep that like, oh, we don't go out to eat anymore. It's like, no, he's eating chicken and steak and rice right alongside me. So it's great.
No,
Yeah.
I've heard other competitors have the boyfriend coaching them, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what better way to have someone right there that sees
Mm-hmm.
bright in the morning too? You probably don't even have to do like check-in photos, right? Or do you still do that process?
I do just
Okay.
because with our schedules, a lot of times like he's trying to get out the door and I'm like, I'm not going to bug him, and I like to have that kind of documented just for myself too, and I'm like, even though we could make it super casual and just like, never email or anything, I'm like, let's at least try to pretend we're, the coach client relationship. So I'll email him my check-ins and he, sends me back plans and everything. So yeah, that way it's
That's
all,
good. That's
yes. Oh yeah.
organized.
Yep,
Yeah.
we try.
And like I'm assuming you guys are both like on a pretty clean diet and everything too, then
Oh
so
yeah. Oh yeah, it's
that's
great. He's really good about pretty much prepping with me, obviously not eating the same macros, but we stick to the same foods and obviously if he really wants a cheat meal and I'm not going to have one, I can sit there and watch him enjoy a burger and not, throw a
yeah.
pity party. I'm just like as long as you describe it to me and tell me how good it is.
I love
Free
that
smells.
because yes, because like we know guys are always going to end up probably eating more than us for the
Mm-hmm.
most part.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's
Yep.
good that you can stay heavy or like mentally good about that. And then I would assume too, like you guys are probably pretty good at not keeping snacks in the house because I feel like that would be a
No.
big challenge with some people with a boyfriend not in competing just for the
Mhm.
snacks.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah, I don't know how people with kids do it. Like I
I
I could
don't
not.
know. I
No.
don't know.
Yeah, Justin has his little snack like stockpile. But he actually keeps it locked in a safe because
There we go.
sometimes I get in that mood where I'm basically a raccoon and I will eat everything I get my paws on. So he has it safely locked away and yeah, so we have jokes that like our snacks are literally in a locked box. So
Does he
it
train you in
works.
the gym too?
Yep. So I like to train on my own sometimes. Like, right now I'm more in off season, so I am more on my own, but like sometimes we'll train together. When I'm deeper in prep, he's actually there training me, as my trainer. So yeah, and he actually owns the gym I'm in right now. So my office is located inside his gym. So yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a lot because now you got the suit business here, which I want to ask about because so now
Yeah.
you guys got everything. Now he's got the coach, you got the suits, competitors.
Yep.
Is he a pro too?
No, he's not. He's never stepped on stage.
Oh, okay.
I'm pushing for it every year. I'm like, this is the year, but I think I should take time off and let him compete whenever that happens. But I'm really selfish and haven't taken that much time off yet.
I'm sure it's harder too because now that you're the pro, it's I'm sure he
Yeah.
enjoys just watching you get up
Oh,
there
for
too.
sure. Oh,
So
for sure. He loves it.
um,
So
yeah,
yeah. Yep.
that's awesome. Especially like you've been keep competing for a while, and that the relationship has obviously been a while then.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
was there a show out of all these that you like one that's very memorable? Because I'm trying to pinpoint. You've done all kinds. So, is there a favorite?
Yeah. I mean, obviously nationals winning my pro card was a big highlight. And just the experience of nationals itself, like I thought that was a great show to do. I did it in 2020, so it was a little different, but it was very well run. I loved the venue, it was awesome. So that's a big highlight.
That was
This year,
Orlando, right? Orlando.
yes,
Okay.
yep, it was in the convention center, where they also had the Olympia where it was there too. So
Okay.
and then the Texas show I did this year stands out as just such an awesome experience from a show perspective. And I loved being in Dallas. That area was awesome. So those two in my mind right away pop out as like, oh, yep, those were great shows.
Is that the show that Autumn was at too?
Yep.
Okay, I was gonna
Yeah,
say
she
because I
did.
remember you said that she was at the one that she turned pro, right? And then kind of full circle, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Like I think she did Tampa too. I mean, she did like every show this year,
She
but
might have. Yeah,
but yeah,
you've
I
had a
think
long year.
oh yeah, oh yeah. So yep, and she was at that show too. So it was, yeah, it was really cool to be like, wow, I'm stepping on stage with pros I've been admiring for like a long time.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yes. And again, you did too. So that's good to see that you kind of got your face out there. Like, do you feel
Yep.
like that was good to do too? Did you want to do more
Yes.
or anything?
We had debated doing more. I was thinking about taking, about 6 weeks, and I was thinking about doing the Arizona Wings of Strength show that was this past weekend.
Mhm.
But after Texas, I got a really bad cold for like a week, and then I got a horrible stomach bug for a week. And I was like, you know what? I'm calling it. And my suit season has been super busy with work. So I was like, you know what? I think life is telling me to focus on my work, take some time off. My feedback was to add some size, of course, that's always feedback. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna take it. I really, wanted to put some more focus on my business and things.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'll step on stage next year. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
hey, come do Pittsburgh with me.
Oh my gosh. When is that? That's earlier in the year, isn't it?
May 5th.
Okay. Do they have the date announced already and everything?
They don't, but since I
Okay.
kind of live here and figure it out all the time, it's
Yep.
always the first weekend of May. So
Mm-hmm.
should be because it's a Friday too. So should be
Yeah.
May 5th.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
or
Yeah.
Toronto. Could do
That
Toronto with me.
Oh my gosh. I know. I've never traveled internationally for a show. Obviously, first year as a pro. So that's
Mhm.
a bucket list item too.
Yeah, I went this past year to watch just to
Okay.
see it. And I was like, all right, I think I'm gonna add this one to my list because I'm sure it's pretty close for you too, but for me it's only
Hmm.
5 hours to drive. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
And it was really easy getting across the border if that's a
Good.
concern. Some people and then that's the thing. I think the show could have been a little bigger. I think a
Hmm.
lot of people were concerned with the
Yep.
whole border thing going on, but
Yep.
it was so easy. They asked me like 5 questions and they're like, all right, you're good to go.
Oh, well,
I'm like, okay,
simple. Yeah. Well,
okay.
that's a relief. Good.
Yes. But
Good.
anyways, I'm glad that your first pro experience went well
Yeah.
in
It
Texas
was
and then
awesome.
Tampa. So wait, Texas and then Tampa, right?
Tampa, then
Or
Texas.
Tampa, then Texas. Okay.
Yeah. They were 2 weeks apart, 1 week apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were very close because I remember feeling like I left there, landed, did laundry, packed, left again, like did cardio in between laundry,
Yeah. And
basically.
so, oh wait, my question just lost me there for. Oh wait,
No.
so you got 16th at
Mhm.
Tampa, and
Yep.
then you got up to 7th, right, for Texas?
11th.
11th. Okay,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
moved up though, right? So
Yeah.
that felt
Improved
good.
for
Mhm.
sure. Tampa, the show experience itself was awesome, but my peak experience was
Oh.
not awesome.
Mhm.
I mean, it was my pro debut. I was stressed beyond all get out. I let the nerves get to me. And unfortunately, my physique, I knew it wasn't where I wanted it to be.
Mhm.
So I kind of stepped on stage knowing already, like, okay, I didn't peak great. It's okay. I still enjoyed it, still loved it. And then I just knew, like, all right, if we're gonna do another show in a week, which I was already signed up for the show, so I'm like, there's
Yeah.
no backing out. I was
Yeah.
like, get your poop in a group, learn how to stay calm.
I love that.
So Yep. So, and then in Texas, yeah, I was in a much better headspace
Yeah.
and I felt like I came in tighter and yeah, the judging showed it. And I had a lot of those nerves were out. I just felt like, okay, we've done this once and it was a lot of the same girls at both shows.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see some familiar faces and, felt like I was like, okay, I'm all right. I belong here. I'm doing good.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, and for my own personal
Hmm.
question too. So obviously you're going to be nervous. It's your first pro show and everything. Now, going back to posing, I know you
Yeah.
get more time. So did you feel like you did enough practice? Like, how did you feel? No, are we ever doing enough practice? Yeah, I know.
Oh no,
Yeah.
yeah, I know for sure. My posing, I mean, I know there's always room for better, but I'm like, no, there was room for better. Like I practiced posing. I had my 1 minute
Yeah.
routine down but it was, I think in Tampa, I got up there and I forgot to do the first pose I'd planned to do. And I went into like my second pose and then I realized I was like, oh no, I messed up. So from there, I was like, well, now I'm winging it.
Yeah.
So, I just kind of like, okay, I'll wing it. And I asked my coach afterwards, I was like, he knew because he knew my posing routine. He saw me
Yeah.
miss it. And I was like, could you tell I missed it? And he's like, well, I could, but you recovered all right.
Okay.
So then that week, I was just it was multiple times a day running through that routine,
Mhm.
just trying to get it nailed in my head. And then, for next year, not only do I want to have my routine down pat, but also, I know I can hit some of the poses a little better yet. I'm looking at photos and I'm like, oh, I should have twisted a little more there and my shoulders like this. And yeah, so always room for more.
Did you end up watching the Wings of Strength show this last weekend?
I didn't yet. No, I was gonna go back and try to like repay for it and watch it because
Mhm.
it looked like a great show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a big show. I think there were 25 girls or something and
Yeah, 20
figure.
some for sure.
And yeah, because I was gonna say, like, because you said you wanted to add more muscle to your frame, and just
Hmm.
looking at your pictures, my friend Jess got seventh, and
Oh,
he
nice.
had said that the judging, like the girls were a little smaller. So
Really?
you know what I
Okay.
mean? You know how like when you go to a show and it seems like they just
Hmm.
go off of who shows up. So, and I know
Yep.
that she's also someone with a smaller figure frame, but I just think that's interesting. Did you see any of that at your shows? Like anything that really stood out in that way, like what the judges were looking for mostly?
Well, at the shows I was at, I felt like conditioning was king. The top call out, all those girls were shredded. I mean, I was so impressed with their conditioning and I felt, I was like, all right, had I come in more conditioned, I think I could have placed much better. I
Mhm.
think, the more conditioned you are, the bigger you look too.
Yeah.
So I think that's where, even though some of these gals aren't necessarily huge monsters,
Mhm.
they're so shredded and diced and just perfectly carved out that they look a lot bigger. So I think, I'm not looking to add like crazy size, but I would like to make sure I have a well balanced physique and then nailing that conditioning next time, really, going until I want to die kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Because I was going to say, I bet you were doing great. I'm sure your diet and everything was on, but then when you go there and you see the other girls, it's probably like,
mhm.
oh, oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Yep. Yep. And I'm like, okay. And, in hindsight, it's like, all right, what could we have done? And for me, I was like, okay, stress management, sleep throughout my whole
Yeah.
prep wasn't great. I knew that. But then
Mhm.
I'm like, you know what? I probably could have used another couple weeks if I really wanted to get that conditioned, I would have just time. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
You can only do so much cardio in a day. When you're up
Yeah.
to, 2 hours, it's like, do you keep pushing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
No, I completely understand. And like
yeah.
you said, like with what your plan is for an off season and everything, it's probably good to
Hmm.
just end this year, probably take notes of this year. Because I think that's all you can do as a pro sometimes, unless
Hmm.
you're like crazy genetic, whatever, is just
Right.
kind of like learn as you go and get your face
Hmm.
out there too. Because I mean,
Yep.
it happens. You show up and steal a show, but I think some of us
Yeah.
have to just kind of keep showing up, and then the judges get more familiar with you and all that other,
Yep.
not politics, but you get what I mean. It's more
Yes.
doing the
Yep.
thing.
Just that familiarity. Yeah. And Tyler Mannion was the head judge at both of the shows I did. And it was really cool. He came backstage after finals. Maybe this is what all judges do, and I've just never seen it before. But, and you know, you could go up to him and get the feedback right away. And he did recognize me in Texas from Tampa and said, like, hey, you did come in better, like, good job. So I was like, whoo, sweet, like,
Yeah.
did something right.
They will notice. Yeah, I've seen
Yep, yep.
at the Pittsburgh, Tyler will do that, and I think that's
Yeah.
really great because it's
Yep.
usually really quick and efficient too, and like takes it
Yep.
very serious. Like you listen.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure it saves them time because otherwise, if you go by email, I'm sure they get 100 emails trying to give feedback for, you know, weeks. Where rather he had a clipboard with notes on every competitor, and yeah. So I thought that was really great, and got the feedback right away. And it's like, all right, got some
I'm
work to
glad you
do.
got it. Yeah, some people
Yeah.
say they don't end up wanting to wait if they miss them. I think some of the bigger shows it must be harder for them to get to like all 25 girls whenever they
Yeah.
go back and do finals, whatever the scheduling might be. So I'm glad you got
Yep.
it because
Yeah, and because of my name, I am first on stage. So I was first off stage. So I saw him standing there and I was like, I just beeline for him. I was
yeah.
like, what do I got to do? I was ready.
So I'm assuming you wear your suits too, right?
Yes.
Have they
Yep.
always been your suits?
No,
Okay.
my first ever suit I did buy from someone else,
Okay.
from a company. Oh, I bought from Ravish Sands,
Okay.
and they did a fine job.
Mhm.
And but that was my first ever suit. And I remember at my show, there was some girl that had a beautiful suit. And I was like, where'd you get your suit? And she's like, T Marie. And I was like,
Okay.
who's that? And she was like, she's the best. You have to go to her. So the next year, I had a vision for what I wanted. I wanted a green ombre suit. So I emailed T Marie and I was like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I want. I think she even
Mhm.
had one on her website that I loved.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the price point, but I remember I got her price back and I went, no,
I was gonna
no.
say it was probably like, woo.
It was my second ever show. I was like, I'm pretty sure it was like $1,200 or something.
Yes.
And I was like, I can't afford a suit that's, you know, like $1,200. So I was like, all right, I'm really crafty. I'm like, I think I can make one myself.
Okay.
So I ordered the suit base from Celia. I don't know, it's another
Oh,
suit company.
yes, in Vegas. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she made a beautiful suit base for me. And I bought the rhinestones online and watched some videos on how to rhinestone stuff. And
Mhm.
I made my first suit, and I wore it for the show, and someone like DM'd me and they're like, can I buy your suit from you? And I was like,
Wow.
yes, like here you go.
Yeah.
So I was like, sweet. And then I think I just got a couple requests from random people being like, hey, would you like do one for me? And it just very quickly was like, I think I'm gonna make these. Like, this is fun. I loved it. So yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I think because like as soon as you said you're crafty, I'm like, okay, I see why she does it then.
Yeah, I've always been very artistic. You know, if I didn't go into graphic design, I would have just gotten an art degree because I love making things. And
Mhm.
yeah, so it just kind of the ball started rolling, and I kept my job as a graphic designer until last year. So I made suits more as a side hustle for like 4 years before I decided to really make it my full-time gig.
Yeah.
So yeah, and now that I'm doing it full time, it's a blast. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, like you said, you've been really busy, and I know
Yep.
every suit designer that I know of says the same thing. So I'm sure
Yeah.
it's just you're
Yeah, I mean, it's a very time consuming thing to make, and
Mhm.
which is I like. I'm the type of person who likes to just get in the zone on something, and I can focus for, 4 or 5 hours on this one little thing, and then I look up and I'm like, oh, I need to like eat and drink water.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
great for a bodybuilder, but
Well,
no.
at least now that you're full time and you
Hmm.
said you're in the gym, right? Working.
Yes. Yep.
So I'm sure do you guys have like a fridge and stuff there,
Oh
microwave?
yeah. Oh
At
yeah.
least there's
Yep.
that. Oh wait, you know what? I
I
can see it in the background there.
Yeah.
So yeah, you do got
I
it
got my
there.
fridge, I got my microwave.
You're
I'm
good.
set.
I
I,
live
I live
here.
in here basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I was looking at your company for your suits is called EvoFit. Is that how
Yep.
you? Okay,
Yep.
great.
Evo Fit Suits by
Yeah.
B. Yeah.
And you've done suits for like Julia, which she did
Hmm.
awesome for this year, and then Kayla, which actually Kayla
Yeah.
turned pro at my show. So
Oh, awesome.
I remember Kayla. So that's
Nice.
yeah, so you've got all kinds of pro
Yeah.
suits and stuff. So that's awesome.
Yeah. We're just starting to work on Julia's Olympia suit right now. So I'm really excited for that coming up. I know. I'm like, oh, it's my first women's Olympia suit. So it's like
Okay.
extra special for me. And so I'm really stoked.
I was gonna ask
Yeah.
you that too, if it was your first Olympia suits. That's
Yep.
That is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of geeking out over it like the
Yeah.
whole time.
I'm a big fan of her too. She's got a beautiful figure. And
Oh
she's
yeah.
one of those ones that just like takes a hiatus, comes back and
Mhm.
just wins the show. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, like she is a head down, put in the work kind of girl. Like, yep, and she kills it. She's a beast. So I've you see videos of her like benching or squatting like crazy weight, and I'm just like, oh my God, like you're insane.
And then, like you said, like she's not a mass monster. Like a lot of these
No,
girls aren't. She's still like, a smaller framed figure
right,
girl. She don't
right.
look scary at all. And then it's just posing really big and
Yeah, beautiful
good
proportions
detail.
too. And
Yeah,
yeah, her conditioning is awesome. Just great shape. Yeah.
definitely. And then you do
Yeah.
posing suits too, or yeah,
Yep.
posing suits. Yep.
Yeah, I do posing suits, competition suits, men's trunks, pretty much everything except board shorts. So
I
yeah,
would think that that's hard. Is it
they
harder?
are.
Okay.
I looked into it and I was like, for the work it is to make them and
Yeah.
what I would have to sell them for, I was like, there's plenty of great board short companies out there. I was like, I'm not really interested in that avenue as much. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been noticing a lot of the same brands like for the
Yep.
board shorts lately. And then
Yeah.
now I'm seeing like a lot of the duplicates. Like I feel like
Hmm.
most of us girls like we get a suit and they're all very customized. It's like a prom dress. But then
Yep.
I see these like men's physique. I'll go to shows and I'll see probably three guys with the same suit.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah. Yep, they're all going to like one of two companies pretty much. Like, yeah, and if you look at like the Olympia men's physique lineup, it's like, oh, they're all the same.
yeah. Well,
I
yeah, and we know
know.
bikini girls can end up looking that way too. But
True. That's a hard division
uh
to judge too.
and the fabric is so weird. I've seen some of the fabric of those shorts and
Hmm.
they're not like a cheap, it's not cheap fabric. It don't look like it
No,
is. It's very
no.
thick, weird cotton
Yeah.
thing. I don't even know how to
Yep. And it
describe
doesn't
it.
really stretch well. It's
No.
kind of bizarre. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, when I looked into it all, I was like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm good.
And they're always now the popular thing is light colors, and that just
Hmm.
is not good for a tan.
No,
Like I'm like, I tell
no.
these guys, I'm like, don't do these light colors. You're getting your tan all over the place.
Yep. I even say that I've had a few women come to me and they want white suits. And I'm like, I will make you a white suit, but here's a huge disclaimer. And when I say, the tan stuff, they're like, oh, never mind. I don't want white. I'm like, that's what I thought.
No, or they'll learn their lesson and then it's just like,
Yeah.
oh,
It's like,
geez.
it's gonna be dirty.
The reason why you don't see the top pros wearing white unless I don't
Exactly.
think I've ever seen it.
No, it's not a popular color for a reason.
So now I want to ask, I don't know if you can tell, I'm sure you've been asked this
Yeah.
before. What's your favorite suit you've ever made?
Oh God, I get asked this all the time.
I
Uh,
figured, I'm like,
I
yeah,
do.
it's probably so hard to pick.
Yeah, I have to say it's probably one of the ones I've made for myself just
Okay.
because I mean they're
Yeah.
mine. So usually
Yeah.
I make sure the ones I make are my favorite. I love the one I wore this year. It was kind of like a purple and gold with some flowy lines. And then my national suit was like teal and black and
Okay.
like kind of a ombres with burst kind of lines. I really love those two. I loved Julia's suit this year too. I did a like gold with kind of some like fuchsia and deeper kind of red berry colors. It was gorgeous on her. It's so hard to pick. Like I start to
Yeah.
go down this rabbit hole of like, well, I
Uh-huh.
like this one and I like that one.
And I like the design, like it's
Yeah,
not too swirly. I'm sure like you've
right.
seen some suits where do you feel like some suits can be like too designy?
I do. It's a personal opinion. I'm not going to say that
Yeah.
that's a bad design. But there's definitely sometimes, even when I see him on stage, I'm like, it just looks like a clusterfuck of
Yes.
something, and that's where I'm like, okay, it's a little busy. There's a balance between designed and then just chaos. So yeah, and some people love that look though, and I'm like, well, that's great. That's why there's designers who do it that way, and you know, that's great.
No. And
Oh,
then you know what too? I saw, did you do Martin's suit too?
I
Martin.
did. Yep. Yep.
Okay,
I worked with
that's
Martin on
really
his trunks
cool.
this year. Yeah. So I met Martin a few years ago. He came up to Fargo actually,
Okay.
because he came with like Brett and Ivana. When
Yeah.
they came up, there was a figure show here, Ivana did,
Mhm.
and they came to our gym and trained. So we got to meet them, and that was really cool. And we just kind of stayed in touch.
Good.
Martin's a really cool guy, and and this year I saw his the gal he was working with for suits, she went out of business, and I knew he was in need of some trunks, so I just hit him up. I was like, hey, I make trunks, can I send you some? And yeah, so he's been really great and been sending lots of clients my way too, so that's been awesome.
That's all. I was gonna say you're gonna
Yeah,
get yourself another Olympian then here
I
soon.
know, that's why I'm like, yep, he's a killer, he's gonna be
Yeah,
up there soon.
definitely. So yeah, no, that's great. So you know what? I want to know now, you're going in the off season and you're just gonna put on some size, focus on the business and everything. And
Yep.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
that's
it's not that exciting, unfortunately.
no, and that's okay because I love the off season. I don't know about
Yeah,
you, but I do enjoy it and I wish more people would talk about it and everything. So
I
it
do too.
is
Yeah.
good. Do you
I took
have so the are you going to the Olympia?
I'm not sure yet. We were planning on it,
Oh,
and then a bunch of stuff in my car broke, and now I have to pay
oh,
for that. So I'm like, okay, well, that was my Olympia fund. So we'll see. I'm hoping to still. I know, sad day, right? But so fingers crossed. I'll hopefully know in the next like week or so if we're going for sure. So,
well, if
but
you
the
do, I would hope to meet you there. So that
yes,
was fun.
absolutely. Yeah,
Is
I'm
there any,
excited.
so which figure girl do you really look up to then?
Oh God.
I
I
keep throwing
mean,
these bad ones at the end here.
I mean, Sydney is the goat. I've admired her since forever.
Mhm.
Just her work ethic and everything is so admirable. It's hard to pick, just one because I feel, especially now as a pro, I'm starting to follow
Yeah,
more and more, and I'm like, everyone works really hard.
they do.
It's like the 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 pros and the top of the top, the top 10 Olympians, whoever they are, we're going to see this year. I'm like, they are all the hardest workers you've seen, and so um yeah, it's hard to just name one person because I'm
I,
like, you follow so many and they're killing it. And and there's people who you don't really see posting much online, and then they show up to shows and just blow everyone out of the water. And I admire the crap out of that too, because I'm kind of like, you know what? If you don't want to be an IG star, but you are a killer competitor, I love it. Those are my favorite people. I'm like, I've never heard of you, but you're
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I see because I'm not like that. I am loud. I like to share. And then the people like that just don't do anything and show up. And I'm like, I respect that, but it's just
Yeah.
not me. But I
To me,
love
that's
it.
hard.
Yeah.
I think like, because I've kind of tried to keep myself shut. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
Bethany, shut up. Like, no one cares about your shoulder press today. Like,
I
you know,
care.
someone does. Good. Yeah. So, like, and I'll go through, I kind of go in waves, where sometimes I'm real loud and obnoxious. And then sometimes I'm like, you know what? I need to
Yeah.
focus on me. And, you kind of said talking about off season. So I took all of 2021 off. That
Okay.
was like a full year off, and
Yeah.
I loved it. I'm
Mhm.
not going to say like I loved it because I wasn't competing, but I
Mhm.
loved like feeling like I lived life, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of there right now too, where I'm like, yeah, I'm bodybuilding, I'm still eating my meals, I'm training, and I'm doing the things, but I'm like, but I'm being a person as
Yeah.
well.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
I love to hear that because ever
Yeah.
since I took a year off one time, like, and I
Mhm.
did it this year, I took all year off. I
Nice.
tell
Yeah.
you what, it's just, and I try to tell girls, I'm like, it's okay. Like, I swear
Yeah.
people aren't going to forget about you. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
all about the attention because I think
Right.
some girls, they just constantly miss that shredded look or whatever, but you
Hmm.
just learn to be comfortable. And I think at this point too, maybe you can agree, we can put on weight and know that we can get that off. It will be
Hmm.
okay. There is always a
Exactly.
way to diet. It's
Yeah,
okay.
body fat doesn't permanently attach to you. Like, it comes and goes. And yeah, like, I don't know about you, like, personally, I'm so much more just comfortable when I have some body fat. Like, I
Yes,
love the look of getting shredded, but it
yes,
hurts.
it does.
Like,
I
yeah.
love my big ass. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I'm like, I jiggle. That's like, it
Yes.
happens. Like, I know it's good to get to a point where like you can be good with that. Because I mean, I was definitely one of those girls for a long time who, if I wasn't stage ready, then I felt like I was a pile of dirt, and it was like, it takes some time to
It does.
realize, how temporary that physique should and needs to be really for your health and everything. But to learn how to love you for you, not just stage you kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yep.
takes time. It takes learning.
Mhm.
Especially, I think you've done more shows than me, I believe, but either way, you still have that experience of doing it over and
Mhm.
over, and you keep showing up, and you
Yep.
just know that if there's a will, there's a way. You'll figure it out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Always. Like when you decide to do a show, you decide for a reason. So you buckle down and you do it and kill it.
Right. And you have a supportive partner too, which is
Oh yeah.
awesome, because I always think too, I tell girls like, I think that your man loves you no matter what, but your man probably likes a little bit of extra.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's I think I've tried to like get Justin to admit that. Be like, you like me thicker, right? Like, which I think he would say that. He said, well, yeah, you're happier. So yeah.
Yeah, at least the mood,
And
it's like
yeah,
I said, he likes you no matter what, but
right, exactly. And he'll say that too. He's like, yeah, it's great when you have a six pack. That's cool, but like it's also like butts are cool.
butts are really cool.
Butts are really cool. Especially nowadays. Like butts
Oh
are
yeah.
in.
Oh, for sure. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And plus you
I
make
know.
suits. You know what?
Yeah.
You can wear a suit all around the house if you
Oh
want.
God.
Who cares
Oh
about
God.
pants?
I haven't put on my posing suit like I haven't done a check-in. This is a bad like guilty admission, but I haven't done a check-in in a hot minute. And I'm doing my first check-in actually probably since I competed this
Okay.
coming weekend. I like have
Yeah.
it planned in my head. I'm like, you're putting on your posing suit, you're gonna do it. And I'm like, you're gonna look great. And I'm like nervous about it.
You'll be okay. I promise.
I
Believe
know.
me. You're a pro. You can do it.
That's true. Yes. God, some people say that. You're like, you're a pro, you're a professional. I'm like, why don't I feel like it though?
Yeah. We're newbies. I get it. It's still
I
fresh.
know. Yep. The rookie. This is my rookie year. It was
Yeah.
great.
Well, it
Did
was
you?
awesome. You did a good one.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Did you compete this year? So you said you took this year off.
Yeah, so
So,
I got my pro card at USA's with Kayla in
okay.
2021. And
Okay,
then
nice.
I wanted to take a year and a half off technically. And I knew that
Yeah.
I want Pittsburgh to be my first, and then we'll do Toronto. That's the
Nice.
goal. So
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
going to start prepping like probably December 1st. So
That's coming up quick. That's exciting.
I'll be like eating Thanksgiving and I'll be like, all right, let's roll.
Yep. Yep. Oh my God. That's stoked. I'm so stoked for you. That's
Thank
exciting. Are you
you.
nervous? I mean, obviously you're nervous.
Yeah. Well, see, maybe when I get closer to it, I'm really excited because Pittsburgh's obviously my backyard, but
Yep.
I'm like you. I already know that it's probably going to be like Nerve City, and I'm just going to do my best, and hopefully it goes okay.
Yep.
Just know that I want to do another show after that, so it'll be okay.
Yep. Yep. I know. I talked to a few gals at either show who it was also like their pro debut years too. And
Yeah.
they're kind of like, this is the time where it's your pro debut. You don't come in expecting to win. And
Yeah.
then like you get your judges' feedback and you kind of just see where you stack up. And it's like it's like the starting blocks, kind of, it's like, all right, this is the start of the pro career. Let's see where it goes from here. So I was like, it's fun. Yeah.
Oh, well, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I want to let you get back to work, and maybe we'll do it again sometime.
I would love that. That would be great. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. And then if everybody wants to follow you, where did your Instagram go? What's your Instagram?
It is